Welcome into our Saints post-game show. The Saints unfortunately fall 26-24 in the last moments of the game to the Atlanta Falcons. Alongside Super Bowl champ Scott Shanley, I'm Erin Summers. John DeShazer is on hand in Atlanta. We're going to open things up with JD. I'm sure the emotions were high. It sounded loud on TV, and I know that coming down to the very last moments of that game, it could go either way. JD, what do you have to say about the execution by the Saints down the stretch?
It was just one of those typical kind of Saints-Falcons games. They seem to have these kinds of endings. Unfortunately, the Saints end up on the short end of this one, and it comes down to a field goal. And look, defensively, the Saints have to be a little bit perturbed because you only give up 4 field goals in this game, and you can't close it out because the offense gave up the football and gave up a pick 6 for a touchdown, and you get a touchdown scored off a special teams blunder, a fumble that's recovered in the end zone, a muff that's recovered in the end zone. So it's one of those games, again, for the second consecutive week where the Saints defense played well enough to win the game, and they don't get enough from the offense in order to win the game. And the offense scores 24 in this one, but there were points left on the board, and unfortunately the Saints were unable to get to the end zone quite enough, weren't able to kick enough field goals because they gave up an opportunity to kick a field goal late when they went for it on 4th down because they felt like the opportunity was there. They didn't know when they were going to be able to get back close again in that range, and they get stopped on 4th down on a pass to Shaheed for the end zone, and that kind of paves the way for Atlanta to be able to win this game. But look, let's give the Falcons some credit. They were able to do some things, especially defensively, stopping the run in the second half. Taysom Hill got injured again, re-injured. He injured his abdomen. He had to leave the game, and so Saints running game kind of went kerfluid when he went out of the game. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get that generated much in the second half, but they did get a clutch touchdown. It's unfortunate. You have a situation where, Falcons on the last drive, they draw a defensive pass interference from Paulson Adebo that pretty much gets them in field goal range because they didn't get another yard from there. And Younghoe Koo comes in and kicks a 58-yarder, which is a career long for him, to win the game for the Falcons. So, again, a tough break for the Saints for the second consecutive week. They've got to pick up the pieces. They do have an extra day. They play Monday night in Kansas City against, obviously, the defending Super Bowl champs. But they've got to get this one away from them as fast as possible, hopefully get some injured guys back. We hopefully will have Demario Davis back, but Tyrann Mathieu leaves this game. Taysom Hill leaves this game. So there are some bumps and bruises that have to be attended to during the week. We'll see how that goes, Aaron, but, another heartbreaker for the second consecutive week.
A game that the Saints were in until the very last few minutes of this one. JD, thank you so much. Good luck in the locker room there, and we'll be looking forward to your reports after that wraps up. Scott, let's focus in on the last half of the fourth quarter there. The Saints had the ball. It was a chance for them to drive down the field and score. 7 minutes to go. They go for it at the end of that drive. 4th and goal. There's 4 minutes left at that point. What did you think about the decision to go for it? You're on the 7, and you need a touchdown to regain the lead.
Yeah, I think I didn't really have a problem with it because it ended up working out in the end. And I think the thinking there was if we go for it on 4th down, we don't get the touchdown here, they're pinned down, and we'll get the ball on a punt in midfield. And it all worked out that way. And the Saints obviously went down and scored, so it worked out that way. I think a lot of people are questioning if you're going to go for it on the 3rd down, you run the ball from the 7-yard line. I think if you probably asked DA or Clint Kubiak, what were you thinking there? They'd probably say, we knew we were going to go for it on 4th down. We were hoping to get 3 or 4 yards and make it 4th and 3 to go. But that run on 3rd down from the 7-yard line really left you with not many options, and that's why you saw the corner route where you had to throw it to Rashid and he tried to one-hand it. But it all worked out the way they thought because they did hold them. They went 3 and out and got the ball at midfield.
Right, so you go 3 and out, you punt the ball away, and then you get the ball in favorable position. And the Saints did a good job of getting down the field, going to Chris Olave quite often in that drive. And you get down to the goal line, and Carr tries to drive it in twice. And then it ends up being Alvin Kamara who gets the touchdown there. 24-23 in that moment. But you give the ball back to the Falcons with a minute to go in this game. The execution by the Saints defensively on that drive where the Falcons were able to get into field goal position.
Yeah, it's tough because I think the Saints, when you look at Derek on the quarterback sneak, and I think they were trying to just drain some clock and not give the ball back to the Falcons, thinking we're going to score here. And I like that strategy. Unfortunately, really this game came down to not being able to overcome 14 free points. It was a fumbled punt return that was 7 free points. It was a pick six that was 7. Because the Saints defense really played really good all day. 3 field goals you gave up to an NFL team, that should win you a lot of games. It was the mistakes on the punt return and then the pick six. And then just like against Philadelphia, you played great the entire game, and then it was the Saquon Barkley long run. And that was, today that play was the Paulson Adebo pass interference, obviously, at the end of the game that put him in field goal position.
A couple penalties in this one, but honestly, the Saints did play pretty clean. There were just a couple key moments where those penalties did hurt them. But dialing back to the very beginning of this game, when the Saints were about to get their first offensive possession, and Rashid Shaheed does muff that punt, fumbles into the end zone, and the Falcons jump on it for a touchdown. And then a few drives later, it's the pick six where they score on. So yes, 2 gifts to the Falcons. They do not get into the end zone offensively. What did you see from the defensive effort by the Saints to start this game and really keep it close in a game that they could come back from?
Yeah, I thought that they had Atlanta on their heels a little bit, and it's shocking if you go down through the box score. I really thought the Saints would have more sacks today, taking advantage of that depleted Atlanta offensive line. But when you flip it, Atlanta probably thought they'd have a lot of sacks too, and they didn't. I think both teams ended up with 1 sack against 2 backups on each offensive line. So that really wasn't a factor in the game. I give the Saints a lot of credit because they ran the ball really, really well. I mean, Alvin missed most of the week of practice. He's going out there with multiple injuries, and he ran as tough as he's ever ran. I just think the Saints didn't give up the chunk plays until that very last drive with the pass interference. Offensively in the NFL, people are trying to get chunk plays all the time. It's hard to march down the field 10, 15-play drives, especially against the Saints defense. So I thought, for the most part, they did a good job. I mean, a lot of people would be surprised if you look down through the end of the game stats. Bijan Robinson was really not that big of a factor. So they did all the things they wanted to do going into the game. It really comes down to 2 plays in this game. Maybe 3 if you want to throw the pass interference in there, but you give 14 points away, it's hard to win in this league.
Definitely. You mentioned the fact that the defense was able to take away Bijan Robinson, and you could tell that was a big focus of theirs to make this team one-dimensional, make Kirk Cousins beat them through the air, and he really struggled to do so until the very end, and Paulson Adebo kind of helped him out with that pass interference call. What were the Saints doing so well to keep Robinson at bay? I
think the biggest thing is the Saints just match up with a lot of teams because of the defensive backs, the secondary. We've talked about it a lot. Alontae Taylor is one of the best nickelbacks in the league, and we talked about his blitzing ability, but he's down the field covering, breaking up passes. I think Alontae could start at corner for a lot of teams. So when you start going down the list of defensive backs and the way the Saints match up, and it goes all the way back to when Tom Brady was in Tampa Bay. Everybody would say, why does the Saints give Tom Brady so many fits? It's because of the secondaries, because of the physical style, get in your face, the man coverage. When you play that much man coverage, the windows are really narrow and tight, and now the quarterback has to make direct throws. So I think that's what gives teams a lot of issues is the talent level of the Saints secondary.
So the Saints hold the Falcons to 88 yards on the ground, but they end up allowing 227 passing yards. They were averaging 6.3 yards per reception. So you're able to move down the field with that average, but on the flip side, the Saints were also averaging over 5 yards a play. So they were kind of taking this intermediary routes and what the Falcons were giving them defensively to move down the field and work a little bit of that run game in. How did you see the balance working out for the Saints offensively?
Well, I really was shocked that the Saints were able to stay as balanced as they were. The Saints are running the ball more than any other team in the National Football League. They are 60-40 run, and you really don't see that in the NFL. It's hard to maintain a 60-40 ratio where you're running the ball 60% of the time. So I thought today, going into the game with Alvin banged up and the offensive line a little banged up, I thought it was going to have to be a little more drop-back passing game. And the Saints, to the credit, they when they had to throw the ball, they threw it really well. I was impressed with Rashid. Rashid's been known as this deep threat behind the secondary guy, and Rashid was running great intermediate routes. To your point, him and both Chris, number 1 and number 2, they're running all sorts of dig routes and slant routes and things like that, working underneath. They were taking what the defense was giving them. So I thought there was much more improvement as far as that goes. It wasn't just run, take a deep shot. It was some good things in the drop back passing game that were impressive.
Well, I mean, the defense wasn't giving them anything over the top.
No,
I mean,
no.
both of those safeties were back. A very good duo, one of the best in the league. We're going to go ahead and toss this one over to head coach Dennis Allen, who is at the podium.
Lose a game like that, those are the kind that fucking, rip your heart out. But I know we got a good football team in that locker room. Now we have to play better. We can't spot a team 14 points, a good team, and expect to win those type of games. The fact that you come back and put yourself in a position to win that tells me that we got a good football team. But we have to be better. We got to play better. We got to coach them better. There's a lot of things we have to improve on. And we'll go back to work tomorrow, and we'll get ready to go to Kansas City on Monday night.
That's the decision by Shaheed on that first one.
Bad decision.
Want him to-
It's a bad decision. We don't ever want to field that ball. And look, he's typically been a guy that's made a lot of really good decisions back there. So it was uncharacteristic for him, to make that decision to field the ball there. But we certainly don't want to do that.
I know you haven't reviewed it close on Jake, but also he had the 3 PIs in that last one. Is there any way he's supposed to be playing different against the speedy receiver?
Yeah, I'm gonna reserve, any comments on that until I get a chance to look at it. But was crunch time. That's where they wanted to go. They wanted to, attack him over there. And I think there's some things that not just him, but all of us could have probably done a little bit differently in that situation.
That pick six, did you see if there was a missed block or something there that kind of caused Eric the edge on the screen?
Well, we had a screen, and they brought the nickel pressure off the edge, and just seeing it from the field, it didn't look like he felt like he had a clean look to get the ball to Alvin, so he kind of double clutched it, and I think he was trying to dirt the ball, and they got a tip on it and tipped up in the air, and they got it and ran it back for a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, two touchdowns, whether it be special teams touchdowns allowed or the pick six, those are big plays.
On the next to last possession, did y'all think about just getting 3 points there?
We did. Yeah, we did. I think just being aggressive and look, we knew we were going to have to make a stop anyway. We knew we were going to have to stop them anyway. So whether we kicked 3, they were going to get the ball, and we were going to be in a 4-minute mode there. So that was the decision, to be aggressive. Let's try to score the touchdown. They got the ball at, the 7 or 8 yard line, 7 yard line, I think it was. And so we knew we were going to have to make a stop anyway. We got good field position. We went down there and scored the touchdown. If we kick the field goal there, I think the game doesn't play out the same way. I think it plays out differently. And so I don't think we can make the assumption that they wouldn't be able to make a long field goal to end the game.
What do you say about Allen?
Yeah, the same thing I would say that he's been, ever since he showed back up for training camp. He's been awesome. He's been outstanding. He's probably been our best offensive player. He's done a really good job for us, and we're going to need him to continue to do that.
Did Taysom re-aggravate the injury?
No, it's ribs on the other side.
How much did him coming out change the game plan or just affect you guys?
Well, look, I mean, you lose a player like that, it affects you, but I still think we had enough guys on the field that could have made enough plays to give us a chance to win.
What happened to Willie Gay Jr.?
Hand,
Time after his groin.
yeah.
Same question about Allen, but about Chris Olave. How close was he? How sure were you that he avoided anything significant? And how about his?
Oh, I think we were very sure that he was going to be fine and able to play. After we tweaked it on Friday practice, we got the imaging. We really didn't see anything on the imaging. This is something that he kind of has dealt with before, so we felt very confident that he was going to be able to go out and play, and I thought he played well today.
You mentioned no one
encouragement?
Well, look, I mean, yeah, when you lose, guys like we've lost and got that many injuries and battle back, I mean, I think that gives you confidence that you have a good football team. But really, it's still about, going out and winning games. And so everybody faces adversity, and we've got to figure out a way to face this adversity and come out, on the other side of it and win games while doing it. So, look, it was a frustrating, loss because I thought we had a chance to win the game, and despite whatever adversity we were facing. So,
Did you really like the offensive plan and how it played out, having to have to play around the losses of Eric?
yeah, I think in particular early on in the game, I mean, I felt like we had a good plan. I think there's some things that we still have to execute a little bit better. We had far too many times that we were behind the sticks in longer yardage situations. We got to eliminate those things. But I felt like, we ran the ball well. I thought we were able to find, in particular Chris and get him some targets. So I thought we did, some decent things in the passing game. Not quite as well in the first half. I thought we threw the ball a little bit better in the second half.
How often today was it kind of a pain tolerance thing? And was he dealing with it?
Well, look, you probably have to ask him. I know that, he was able to get some work during the week, and I thought he felt like, he was going to be able to go and be effective. I don't think he was 100%, but I thought it was awesome to see him go out there and gut it out and play the way that he did. I thought that was good for our team to see.
Paulson's last PI, was that just, I think he made the penalty just to not give up the big run? Or
I'll have to look at the play.
how do you feel about Shane Lemieux stepping into the center role?
I thought overall he did well, but again, you're talking about the center in the middle of the line, and there's a lot of other stuff that's going on, so it's hard to really, have a good evaluation for you. But look, I mean, I thought we moved the ball offensively. I thought we did some good things offensively, but we just, I think the penalties and getting behind the sticks caused us, to miss out on some opportunities.
You mentioned that there was a motion, there was a formation, there were some false starts. Is there any rhyme or reason to why that stuff was happening?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But I think, as we do with everything, we're going to go back, we're going to look at everything, we're going to talk about everything, we're going to evaluate everything as a staff. What we do well, what we not do well as a staff, and then make the corrections that we need to make. But we had too many penalties, which put us in some negative situations.
Should be 2-2 after 4 now, and given the start that you guys have this season? Feel like
I'd rather be 4-0. And I think we had chances to do that, But, look, we're going to have to go back and put together a good plan and get ready to go play Kansas City. We'll see where we're at on the, injury front, who we have, who we don't have, and then get ready to go play against another really, really good team. I think we've played, some pretty good teams to this point. So, it's never easy in our league.
The last scoring drive from the first and second down, are you guys trying to score there, or are you trying to run clock and make them use their last time out?
Well, no, we're trying to score. And yet, I wasn't upset when we didn't. You know what I mean? I mean, I think we were trying to score, and they did a good job of stopping those plays. But certainly, we wanted to eat up as much time as we could.
Alvin had another 26 touches today, even though you said he maybe was a little bit. I mean, is there something you wanted to avoid going into the game, and the game just didn't let you, or once he's in, he can?
Well, I think when you get into the game and he's on a roll like he is, it's kind of hard not to, try to get him some touches. But I think, that's where probably with Taysom being out, that changed the plan just a little bit, But we've got to have some other guys that can step up and make some plays other than just Alvin. And we do have that.
What did you think of the pass rush? And did you think that, I guess, did you think that y'all were going to be
Well, I don't think we got enough pressure on the quarterback. And so I think we just got to look at, why that was. the pass rush has been pretty good, but we didn't. I don't think we affected the passer as much as we needed to in this game. All right, thanks, guys.
Alongside a Super Bowl champ Scott Shanley, I'm Aaron Summers. The Saints fall 26-24 to the Atlanta Falcons in Week 4, now 2-2 on the season. This one comes down to gifting the Falcons those 14 points to start the game. You do it on the muffed punt and then the pick six. It's really hard to fight back in a game that's going to be as intense as this one is, a rivalry matchup, when you go ahead and spot the other team 14 points. How was this team able to still compose themselves and fight back after those moments?
I think there's a lot of grit to this team. I think this is a close team. I think this team is a few plays away from being 4-0.
Yeah.
And people say it all the time, but that really is the difference in the NFL. Everybody has talent. It's not losing games more than winning games sometimes. And for this team, the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks it was just blowouts. It was everybody was having a good time. It was parade central, and everybody was getting the ball. But in the last 2 games against pretty good opponents, I think Philadelphia will be in a playoff hunt. I think Atlanta is talented enough to be in a playoff hunt. When you play those type of teams, the games come down to 5 or 6 plays, and it's who makes 3 or 4 of those plays, and that's what it came down to today.
Execution becomes paramount, especially when you're dealing with as many injuries as the Saints were dealing with going into this one. We knew ahead of time we were going to be without center Eric McCoy and right guard Cesar Ruiz on the line. The line held up, did not allow a sack until late third quarter.
Yep.
Did a really good job keeping quarterback Derek Carr clean and giving him time, even setting up the run game.
No, I thought the offensive line did an outstanding job. There were moments in the first half where it was just a surge, and they were just pushing the Atlanta Falcons around at will, like doing whatever they wanted. That really shocked me that they were able to run the ball, because the Atlanta Falcons defensive line, it is a talented group. Matthew Judon has been a Pro Bowler in this league for a long time. David Onyemata, we remember when he was with the Saints, he's one of the best run stoppers in the NFL. Grady Jarrett's one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. So those guys alone, I thought the Saints would have a tough time just lining up and moving a grown man against their will. But they did a good job of that. And again, you got to tip your hat to Alvin Kamara and the toughness he showed, running through tackles down there on the goal line. Caden Ellis is a really good linebacker. He ran him over right into the end zone to get that leading score. So I thought there was definitely signs to this team that I don't think people should panic, because they were 2-0. They've dropped a couple games. It's not, oh, here we go. They're going to play a tough team in Kansas City. I think this is a good team. They're a tough team. You will win a lot of games if you have the offensive line play the Saints have had this year, and you have the type of defense they have. So I think they've just ran into a couple really good opponents.
Able to go for 131 yards on the ground. Alvin Kamara has 77 rushing and then 42 receiving. So again, he goes over 100 total yards. Things seem different in this one with the re-addition of tight end Taysom Hill. He was injured in that game against the Eagles, so he was out for that one. Comes back, scores the first 2 touchdowns. I mean, you miss him in those short yardage situations, and then he suffers another injury. So he goes out before the half, and we don't see him again for the rest of the game. How much does he impact what this team is able to do?
He's a guy that I don't think it's too far-fetched to say if Taysom Hill was healthy every play this year, the Saints would be 4-0. I really think because of his – go back to the last week's game against Philly, all those 3rd and short and the 4th down and short, Taysom Hill's helping you convert those plays, and you probably win that game. Today, when he went – you saw, just like you said, his valuableness in the first half. He lines up a fullback. They give him a little fullback trap play. He rumbles for 4 yards, first down, and line up at quarterback. I mean – he is the ultimate red zone weapon. So when you miss number 7 and the things he brings to you and how diverse you can get with him and lining him, he's the ultimate chess piece. So when he left the game, it's like, now who picks up the slack for number 7?
Yeah, tough one for sure. We're going to throw it back to the locker room area and get some sound from cornerback Paulson Adebo.
I mean, definitely, that's one that I feel like we let slip away. Personally, me, having a PI call late in the game when we have a chance to win it. Got to be better right there. So just trying to find a way to finish. So personally, I know that, that's a big part is on me, playing clean late in the game.
Did you agree with the call?
I mean, I'm just trying to play, and if they call it, then it is. So for me personally, just being better, without just playing clean the whole game and not letting that be a problem.
You obviously had what's your internal balance of how aggressive you can be?
I mean, if they're calling it, then I have to be less aggressive, right? I don't have a, so that's all I'm focused on. Just trying to play, clean the whole game, and so that's something I got to work on personally.
So that last one wasn't like contacting to make sure it didn't catch the ball. It wasn't intentional, I guess.
Oh no, I'm trying to play football and make a play on the ball. So yeah.
What was the defensive strategy on this? Obviously, they need only about 20, 25 yards. So do you just play that straight up like any other situation in the game?
I mean, yeah, we're just trying to finish the game out. I mean, they have a ways to go to try to get a field goal, so I'm trying to stop them from getting a positive play. So.
What did you think about the overall defensive effort today? I mean, they only scored 4 field goals.
Yeah, I mean, we did some good things, but at the end of the day, wasn't good enough. So got to get back to the drawing board and find a way personally to be better. So there's things that I feel like I got to work on, and then everybody just do that for sure.
What did you see on the interception?
Just had a dig route. They got one earlier in the game, so just try to kind of make a play, jumped in front of it.
Anything else for Paulson?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What's your initial sentiment after a game like that?
Oh, that one hurts. And you try your best not to be so angry, about it, yeah. But you hate losing. You hate losing, especially close ones. They sting. So, I thought positively. I thought we, ran the ball. I thought we threw it effectively. Compared to last week, I thought we got better. But just like Debo said, good's not good enough. We got to be better, and obviously it wasn't enough to get a win today.
Was the plan today just a lot of quick stuff early for you? I mean, obviously playing without a few offensive line, I'm guessing that factors.
Of course. There's a lot of factors, but yeah, I mean, I think just getting everybody comfortable, getting in the rhythm of the game, all those things, and we were able to hit some chunks, I think here and there, and then especially more late in the second half. I thought our guys battled. I thought up front they did a great job, especially running the ball early. When we were able to run the ball early, it allowed some of those passes in that second half to really open up for us, and so and they did a great job in protection. Then they brought a lot of heat at us. They wanted to get after us and put a lot of pressure on those guys, one-on-ones everywhere. Put me on a time clock, and I was really proud of the way that our guys handled that. Yeah, and it got tipped up. It sucks, but I should throw it away quicker. 100%, throw it away quicker. I don't need to hang on to it, and just to see and all that kind of stuff. Da and I talked about it right after it happened. He's like, just quicker. I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yes, sir. Again, we spotted them a touchdown there. And that I don't know the last time I've seen that happen on a screen, but hey, it happened. It sucks, but I got to get rid of it quicker when it's not there. And so, yeah, can't wait that long to throw it away.
The difference in your offensive success compared to last week is that having a week to prepare for the guys who weren't out versus having it happen on the third play of the game.
Yeah, I think obviously that helps the guys that are playing, right? The mindset is different, all that kind of stuff, and they get the reps. It's one thing to see it. It's really hard to see it and then go plug in and play. That's a hard thing to do. But I was really proud of our guys this week and their mentality. I thought we had a really good week of practice, and I was very confident going into the game that we would at least play better, and we played better. Our guys up front handled a lot of different things, a lot of different fronts, some different pressures and all that kind of stuff. And I thought they did a fantastic job. And I think having those reps during the week definitely helps them with that.
Yeah, obviously you see like the 2 touchdowns from Jason, like you can see what he can do in those when he's out of the game. Like how much does that take away from what y'all can do?
Yeah, because there's just I'll say this about our the system is obviously everyone has a role, but there's also guys that are ready to play that role if need be. You know what I mean? So we don't lose lose like the call sheet, the plays to be able to call them. If I said that right, but but like I always say, like you take a Taysom Hill out, you take a Eric McCoy out, whoever you name, whoever, it's always hard. You don't just replace somebody. Different guys have different abilities, they bring different skill sets, to the table. And so anytime you lose a guy like Taysom, it hurts for sure. But there's definitely a system and things in place for us to be able to not lose those plays if we need them.
Kind of related to that, I mean, with that Falcons game today, just curious
Yeah, he just continues just to amaze me. Just you guys have seen him, been close to him longer than I have. I've seen him at Pro Bowls, and that's about it. Like I get to see him every day now for the last 2 years, and he just blows me away. Just as a teammate in the games, like he reminds me so much, of Marshawn, their mindsets during the game. Marshawn Lynch, and playing with Marshawn, like they just absolutely love football, no matter the situation, no matter how chaotic it is. I can always look to AK, just because he's an older player. I can look at him, and I can just, stay like this when the stadium is at its loudest and we need to go score a touchdown. He just continues to amaze me, with his mentality and the things that he's physically able to do. I'm proud to be his teammate, and work alongside that guy. He pushes me, just watching him. He pushes you as a teammate to be at your best, when the game's on the line and things like that, for sure.
Sounds like you guys were pretty confident. Chris Olave reflected the performance he gave when there was some question about if he'd be full.
Yeah, I mean, without getting into his business, like I didn't know, for sure, but for him to gut that out, to see him in there, hurting right now, obviously, for him to do that for us and come up with that huge catch across the middle, to give us a chance to, go take the lead and possibly win a football game. And there were 7 catches before that, but that just, for him to gut that out and be at the end of the day and catch that ball, and like that is huge for our team. And there's no moral victories, but that's definitely a positive going forward for sure for us, that his grit and his toughness, like that's what we need from our number one, and he gave that to us today.
How much comfort do you take sort of just in how consistent Chris Olave and you've been on third downs in particular? It seems, especially the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've come such a long way, and I'm glad that you get a couple of games in and you see the work paying off. He had a choice route today versus a certain look, and I threw it to a spot. Someone was coming, I threw it to a spot, and he saw it just like I saw it, caught it, boom, first down. It's like that. That stuff doesn't happen overnight. Like that. That's a lot of work, on his part, and on me. Us doing it together, obviously. But I'm just so proud of him, man. Like I really am. Like his work ethic and just his mentality to get us to this point. There was another play today that I dropped back and I just threw it to a spot that I knew that he needed to be at, and he's there. He makes the catch, first down. It's like, yeah, we can look past that. Even the one down the middle that got called back. Like it takes a lot for me to just make that decision. With the safety over the top, Mike underneath, like that's a big trust throw. Those easily get tipped up and be trouble. And like for me, it was like I'm throwing it, and so that confidence and trust I have in him, that takes a lot of work, but he's earned that. And he, just like he did last week, he said it again, end of the game. He keeps reminding me, because I tell him, a game online, I'm coming to you, and he reminded me again, he's like, hey, I'm here. And sure enough, he made a lot of big plays for us on that drive.
You were obviously in this position last year.
Yep.
2-2.
Yep.
What's kind of the mindset?
Aaron Summers alongside Scott Shanley. Falcons take this one 26-24 in Atlanta. It is now 2-2 on the season for the Saints. Dealt with a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Going into this one, had that injury to linebacker Demario Davis, which affected things. And then early in the game, linebacker Willie Gay Jr., who was filling in for him, leaves with a hand. Jackson making his season debut, who comes in and fills there. And then you move into the second half of the game, and the other leader on your team, safety Tyrann Mathieu, gets hurt. How much does it affect things when your two leaders in your secondary go down
But
or are out.
Yeah, it affects a lot. And I know you hear from coaches all around the league say, next man up. We don't care, it's next man up. At some point, it does matter. I mean, there's a reason why Tyrann is Tyrann Mathieu. There's a reason why
he is the man and not the next up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And when you start taking a lot of those number ones and you start bringing backups, you're in the NFL. Even if you're a backup, you're still a talented player. Some guys are just waiting for their opportunities, but it just at some point it's going to start to show. And I thought today the Saints defense for guys that were injured, guys that were out, anytime you miss a guy like Demario Davis and Tyrann Mathieu's not on the field, you would think you'd be giving up a lot more plays. The Saints defense gave up 3 field goals. So I thought they played really good, did a good job against the running game. Atlanta does have a good running game. It was unfortunate to lose Willie Gay so early in the game because this was an opportunity for Willie. Willie's a really tated player.
He was flying around early,
He's
too.
extremely fast and versatile, and him and Pete on the field as the 2 linebackers in nickel situations, those are as 2 athletic linebackers as you get in the NFL. So I was excited about Willie getting a chance today. So hopefully he's back. Hopefully Demario gets back. Hopefully Tyrann's back, because the Saints are getting into this point now where you're on the road against the Chiefs, which after the Chiefs, you have 3 games in 11 days. I mean, the direction of your season is teetering within 2 weeks right now. So you're going to find out which way you're going record-wise. So it is time to hit the cold tub, hit the training room, and get rested up.
Let's get them out of Atlanta first.
Yeah.
Let's get them back here, back in New Orleans. This one is always testy. You were pretty upset when you sat down before the show started. I know you played in this matchup several times, so you don't have a good taste in your mouth when it comes to the Falcons.
No, it's definitely anytime you lose to Atlanta, it doesn't matter. You never want to lose to Atlanta, especially at Atlanta. The rivalry between these 2 teams, it's cool because it's almost like a college rivalry, and that doesn't exist in the NFL. It's a business. Everybody's independent contractors, this and that, but our coaching staff has been around a long time. Mm-hmm. Our front office has been around a long time. Terry Fontenot is the GM for the Falcons now. So there is a rivalry. But for me as a player, I truly learned about this rivalry. It wasn't even on the field. It was between the city. It was between the fans. When I heard the fans tell us, like, you don't lose to anybody but Atlanta, and you start to listen to those things, and you realize the rivalry between the cities. That's what makes this fun, and that's why it truly is Atlanta Hate Week.
Yeah, it's even more disheartening when a loss comes against Atlanta. We'll have one more against them later in the season, and hopefully we can get them in that one, because you got to at least even the series up, because it's going to matter a lot as this division comes into play. I mean, the Bucs are right there at the top of it right now, and we'll see them here in just 2 weeks. Kansas City's up next.
Yeah, you get a chance to go against the defending world champions on the road. It's going to be a hostile environment. Nobody's going to give you a chance. And so you have a chance to make a statement, and really it's just about getting the health of your team back, because I truly believe, it's not being a homer, when you put the Saints roster down on a piece of paper and you compare it to whoever they're playing, they have as good a roster in the league. But you have to be healthy. It's okay to replace 1 or 2 guys. It's hard to replace 4, 5, 6 guys. At some point, it's just a battle of attrition.
You have to be healthy and you have to execute. 2 things we need to see going forward. So, yes, hopefully all of the players are getting in those cold tubs and getting all the treatment that they need over the next couple days before they start their preparations for Kansas City. This one ends 26-24 in the Falcons' favor for John DeShazer, who is in Atlanta, making his way back here to New Orleans. Scott Shanley, I'm Erin Summers. Thank you for joining us in this one. We're going to leave you with some highlights from the game, and we will talk to you later in the week on NewOrleansSaints.com.
2nd down and 7. Down the sideline, and Shaheed tries to hurdle his way towards the goal line. That right tackle for Atlanta. 2nd down and 3. Cousins over the middle. It is picked off. Intercepted by Adebo.
Saints.
So it's Hill out of the shotgun, looking to run it in. And he does. Touchdown. Here's Taysom Hill running hard into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown today. Down and 4. This is Mooney, but it did not fool. 2nd down and 18. Cousins in trouble. Ball comes loose. And the Falcons recover. 2nd down and 17. Carr. Shaheed, his 8th catch, and that's a new career high.